Hey guys, happy Sunday. I am back in the saddle. Thanks for all your very kind well wishes. I appreciate. Okay, so this is just the Sunday Social Security roundup for what went out last week on Monday, September 2nd. So this goes from September 2nd to Saturday the 7th, I believe. Okay. So on the 2nd, it was a little blurb about the effects of remarrying on benefits. They may go up, they may go down. So you have to really know, which program you're talking about, and whether or not remarrying takes away a benefit or it might actually add an eligibility, another work record. Okay. September 3rd. Oh yeah, this was real life case here. When you appeal a partial win, when the onset date is not back to when you believe you were disabled and when you believe your evidence shows it. And so we go into a little bit of that because we did one of those with somebody. We don't do them very often because it really has to be probably a big enough back benefit that's, on the fence there to make it worth it, not for us, but for the risk to the claimant. In this case, there seemed to be very little risk. At worst, it would be left alone. Already won, didn't get the back benefits, but there was an arguably decent chance of getting it to go backwards. So we'll see what happens. We don't know the result. I wish we did. But I think my client is really happy to put it behind him one way or the other. September 4th, so that would be Wednesday. Oh yeah, this was my well, really Tuesday night, the 3rd at night was when I went downhill. Wednesday was the surgery. Okay. And that video that day was, people always ask, should I send my mental health therapist an RFC form? And I explain why that's probably not a good idea, by and large. That doesn't mean if you have a representative who knows what they're doing, they can't possibly do it. But to send one blindly can be a huge mistake and can actually ruin your case. Not because your provider is trying to, but because they just don't know what the SSA terminology and what the legal repercussions are of certain categorizations of you are. And that varies per person because it's going to vary on your work history. It's going to vary on your vocational profile, all that kind of stuff. So it gets a little in the weeds. September 5th. All right, so this is Thursday. Oh yeah, this one is great. This was just a me babbling on about this new case law that came out in a particular circuit where it actually turned out an appeal in favor of the claimant. And it's got some really good, strong points about what an ALJ has to do with your treating provider's opinions before he kicks them to the curb. He can't just kind of vaguely kick them to the curb and not give them weight. So that's a really important case. I always say, even though it's not necessarily in your circuit, the birds are going nuts. Even though it's not necessarily in your circuit, it can be really helpful because we can still point it out to a judge in our circuit. Okay, doesn't mean he has to follow it, but there's a certain level of common sense and respect that goes about. September 6th. This is Friday fraud law review. Oh yeah, this was gosh, an idiot. Dumb criminals, right? Federal convict on supervised release who stole SSI while on supervised release for years. Finally caught. Unbelievable. Okay, and then Saturday, September 7th was about, it was just responding to somebody about what kind of bank account a representative payee should be getting for, to hold the monies for someone that they are the rep payee for. And we just go into how banks are all different. They word things differently, but what you have to know in terms of what you tell them, hey, what bank account do you have that covers these criteria? And every bank has them. They just have different names for them. And a lot of times bankers, no offense bankers, but the bank tellers are often not really well trained in a lot of these accounts. I think they should be in this one though. It's usually when you start getting into trust accounts and stuff that they get a little cattywampus. But anywho, all right, that's that. That was the week, guys. Thank you. And I will talk to you next week. Have a great one. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye. So you just listened to the week's roundup of all 7 days right behind us and what those video tips were. Are you concerned if you didn't necessarily catch the ones from the week prior to that? Don't worry, we're going to attach it right here. Have a great week, guys. Bye. Happy Sunday. It is a lovely Labor Day weekend. All right, let's do this Social Security roundup for the week of Monday, the 26th of August, 2024. And we went through Saturday, the 31st. So let's see what's going on here. Because my mind is like a sieve. I don't always know which ones go out when. So let's see. All right, so on Monday, I think it was Monday, August 26th, right? Oh, yeah, we were talking about the SSA came out and addressed the data breach that occurred with the company, not the SSA, with this other company that held billions of data of us. I believe it was the US, Canada, and the UK is what was mentioned. But anyway, it's the SSA putting out a statement. We'd already reported on the actual public media coming out with it in the middle of August. They came out with it even though it had happened in April. So here's the SSA's take on that. And they probably give a little bit of guidance if I recall. All right, so that was Monday. Oh, accidentally, a second one came out on Monday. This annoys me when this happens. It's a complete faux pas, human error, because two things were able to be popped out on the 26th. But anyway, my apologies. They both happen to be really, I don't know, I guess well taken. This is about a greater understanding of how to do the work history report. It was part 2 of what will probably be 3 parts. Part 1 already came out, and that controls the first page of the report. This controls the first page of each of the job pages. Each job gets 2 pages. We discussed page 1. Next time we'll discuss page 2 of that report. Remember, this is the new work history report. Came out in, I want to say it was June. It might have been July because it actually reflects things kind of part and parcel with the change to the 5-year work look back versus the 15 prior year look back when it comes to determining what's past relevant work and which past relevant work can be held against you, so to speak, as if you could still do it. Okay, so that was that. We go into page 1 of the 2 pages you're going to be doing for each job you had in the past 5 years. Okay, August 27th, that must have been Tuesday. Oh yeah, we're talking about, it's just more of a definitional thing, so you know the difference. When we talk about limitations, there are exertional limitations and there are non-exertional limitations, and you really do need to know about all of them, and you need to know which ones affect your RFC and how they do so, and what that might do to affect your ability to prevail. All righty. Moving on, the 28th was, so that must have been Wednesday. It was about whether an SSDI beneficiary can or should switch to spousal retirement when the other spouse starts to collect. This is really kind of a math thing, but we kind of go into what numbers you're going to want to look at to see if that's a savvy financial decision to make in retirement or not. And of course, every case is different. August 29th, that must have been Thursday. This was, yeah, just a tip about filing, you know, when you might be filing for Social Security Disability or SSI too soon. And by doing so, you're inviting a denial. You're definitely given the fodder for a very easy denial sometimes. And this explains a little bit when that might be. Okay, Friday, the fraud law review, of course. This was, God, we've had 3 prior ones on this very multifaceted crime with various people, various perps, I should say. And this one concerns Mama Perp. She finally gets her just desserts, and we go into that. And I thank the Office of Inspector General for sharing these with us. And that's how I get them to you guys. Okay, August 31st was Saturday. All right, we go into question number 14 on the function report. So if you're, a person that's working on your function report, will be working on a function report, I'd say this is anybody before they file or in initial or certainly in recon, because now we know even if you did one in initial, you're probably gonna have to do another one in recon. And sometimes you're gonna have to do two at a particular level, because if your case has been dragged out for a year because they didn't have an adjudicator to work on it, you will find that they might be asking for another function report, which is appropriate, I think, because your condition, your activities may have vastly changed in all that time. You may be far more limited than you were. Maybe you were driving before, maybe now you can't. Maybe now you only do it once every 2 months when you're desperately in need of milk down the street. Maybe not at all. Maybe you have new impairments that are limiting you. I mean, it could be a worsening of some, or it could be more that are limiting you. So this is really important. And the one about 14, this particular one, was about the question of how you answer if you are doing laundry. That's not actually the question per se, but that is oftentimes a response. And there are better ways to provide that information than other ways. I'm always saying that there's multiple ways to skin the cat when you answer a question accurately and honestly. There are helpful ways and there are unhelpful ways. So we go into that. I'm all about that with the function report. All righty, so there we go. That was the week. The week of, what did I say, 26th to 31st. Guys, I hope you're having a great weekend. It's a holiday weekend, Labor Day. I hope those of you who work are enjoying it. Those of you who are not are thankful to those who are. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Any juicy ideas for a video that you want me to put on the list? So when something isn't coming up in the middle of a day to share with you guys, I can certainly put it on the list to get it out there. It'll just take a little bit longer, but a lot of people are doing that. So I thank them. You guys have a great week. I'll talk to you later. Bye.